Brothers and sisters, what's popping? I hope everything is good. I'm checking in with y'all as I should do more often, but like I said, I'm breaking away from all this in my right ways. But before I do that, let's talk about a few things. Let's talk about this white heaven situation. Let's talk about Rick, and let's talk about a few. We're gonna cover a vast area of information in a short period of time. So we gotta be astute and just remember that this is this is not my opinion. This is what's taking place and happening right now. So first, I'm gonna skip to Rick, and we're gonna get back to Whitehead. What we have going on with Rick is major, major, major. I mean, epically major. So the reason why I picked that picture right there is because it illustrates what's going on in the greater east of the earth, and it shows y'all what I'm talking about when I say that Il Khanate is making a comeback. And that Russia, I'm not going to say doesn't mind, but will, for namesake, play second fiddle to China. Now, why this is really a major epic thing is because there was a situation that took place maybe 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, where a senator from the United States left the United States, went over to Taiwan by way of Singapore, and caused an issue to jump off, right? And we're not going to get carried away with that, but we're going to talk about that. And what I gathered from that was two things. Number one, China is ready to take any sign of what could be perceived as a provocation, as a declaration, okay, as an act of a declaration of something else. And so when you have a situation where I want y'all to realize, think about how much money the United States has poured into the Ukraine. Do they really have that kind of money to pour into Taiwan? I mean, I want y'all to really be honest with yourself. Are you okay with your tax dollars going there? Right. See what I'm saying? It doesn't stress China or Russia logistically to stay in their landmass and fight proxy wars. They're not stressed by all that. So people got to understand there's more going on than what they realize. And I'm not just talking about war type of stuff. I'm talking about the big picture. So let's just say big picture for half a second is China and Russia realize that they have the Western societies in a downward spiral. People paying 500 something dollars a month, right on, for their energy bills in the UK. Some people thousands of pounds. Okay, y'all don't think that got nothing to do with all that stuff? The inflation that's happening here, y'all don't think that? And mind the fact that I don't, it don't, it doesn't change my actual life. I know this. Right now, it doesn't, but I'm aware of the impact that Rick is having way over there, over here. And there's no way that you guys can tell me that if another proxy war breaks out with, let's say, Taiwan, there's no way that you guys can tell me that the United States can sustain giving Ukraine and Taiwan money. It's impossible. With what money? Right. So on one of those fronts, somebody would get the full brunt of the military that's been holding back or that has not been in action, whichever one would come first, i.e., the Russians would show the Ukrainians what's really popping, or China would show Taiwan that y'all don't stand a chance, you know? And this wouldn't be like a biblical siege. This would be the real thing. This would be something terrible. Now back to White Heaven real quick, right? We're gonna start to make it get all real interesting. Now over here in White Heaven, I need y'all to check out that article when you get the chance. is loosely related to just understanding that when it happens in America, there's going to be no mercy upon you. None, not for me. No group is going to show us any kind of mercy. Right on? Not the sleeper cells, not the super duper highly classified agent commando type dudes who are here right now. Uh, they own businesses, they work jobs, right on. They seem like regular individuals. Some of them are probably even who you consider uh, indigent, homeless, right, impoverished. This young brother kills one Dutch soldier, and there's two others, and I'm just like, would y'all think that they're gonna forget about that? You see what I'm saying? Like, and that's a country that's supposed to be friendly. So I don't know what people think is gonna happen to them when the real threat to their existence and the real threat to their life, especially individuals who just they don't want to hear it and they don't care. Right on? That's the truth. We are in a land of people who are going to bring about a great and utter destruction on everyone else around them. And those around them will be almost responsible for not having removed themselves or not having reported these individuals beforehand. You got to watch the company you keep. There's going to be a lot of young brothers that find themselves what charges should have been reckless endangerment and this, that, and the other, looking at some shit talking about they're a terrorist. It's coming. This stuff is coming down the pipes. It's the only logical answer to everything that's going on. Of course, they're going to call rednecks shooting at each other in the trailer park terroristic. Anything that they can call terror, the, the people are going to be on edge. The citizens of this country are going to be put on the edge of their seats because they're going to feel like they can't even protect themselves, so called, right on, without it being misconstrued as something else while the so-called criminals are allowed to run amok. The conditions and the circumstances and the atmosphere has already been cultivated and it's already been incubated. So now we're waiting for the accumulation of these events, the totality of them, if you will. And when this does take place, it mark my words, it's just like the year of the vigilante has been popping and going crazy. It doesn't matter if it takes to the end of next year or going into 2024. I can guarantee you they're going to change how they look at people shooting one another. They have no choice. They have absolutely no option. They can say how regular individuals do this and normal people. What's normal about the fact that somebody can't even go out and have a good time without worrying about somebody shooting up the place? There's nothing normal about that. Right on? There was a time when people didn't even have the money to afford a firearm. So all they had was a blade or whatever. You get what I'm saying? Like they didn't have the ability to just go get a gun and just shoot you. Right. You can go get a gun for the dirt. I mean, for relatively cheap, you can get a firearm and be uh, ready and able to kill someone. White heaven has allowed that. They promoted that in this land. So that way, black people, so that way, Afro people would live in fear of their lives every day. Because the fear of them doing to you what they ought not do to you is what permeates and it is pervasive in the minds of the old and the young alike. I always laugh when white folks clutch their purses and stuff like that. I always tell them like, shit, I should be worried about you. Y'all the one with the track record. When's the I always ask them, when's the last time black people dropped an atomic bomb on another nation? Tell me when. Thank you. I mean, I'm talking about this side of Moses, this side of the Messiah, not no ancient, African history, ancient Babylonian, Sumerian history, not none of that. I'm not gonna call it nonsense, but it is nonsense because you can't prove none of that right now. I'm talking about what we can go back and actually prove and show the world. And there are a group of individuals that will say that people who are like me lack a certain control or whatever over themselves, right? They're impetuous. But what's funny is that the same impulsive nature that these people so-called suffer from, the whole entire earth suffers from. Right. That's the thing. It's the lack of opportunity that normally keeps certain individuals from acting in a certain way that they may otherwise actually carry themselves in. Right. But because they're not in a position to to uh to indulge, if you will, in certain things, they are forced to seem as if they're practicing discipline. But in the actuality of it, it's the lack of access to a specific resource or to a specific activity that keeps them in that bind. Whereas there were slaves who were obviously not supposed to do things on the plantation that they did anyway and just didn't care and were totally aware of it. Right. When we start to recognize that you're in a land that when your ancestors got free, for a very long time, they didn't even look white folks in the eye. That's some new shit. Right. Let's just keep it a 100,000 a buck on that. Black people looking white people, so-called white people in the eye, that is some brand new shit in this land, okay? Because that was grounds for a beatdown back in slavery. That was grounds for some real shit. You were not eyeballing nobody back then. This whole making eye contact with people, that shit is brand new. For us, right. Talking about in this land. And don't nobody want to hear that. But in white heaven, they would have you to believe that we were making stern eye contact all the time with slave owners and overseers and just anyone in general who was not an Afro person and was not enslaved or not indentured, I should say. Right. Back to Rick. Now, not sure if y'all noticed, but I'm gonna have to figure out how to get all my stuff right with this laptop. I just don't be worried about it like that. It ain't that big of a deal to me. The way I explain it is clear. The map that y'all see when you first turn this on, that thumbnail, it encompasses a vast swath of land. And on that land is the same area where the entire crusade would be fought. Okay? Right. Now, why this is so important is because, like I said, without the crusades, there is no white heaven, right? Without that monumental time in history and all that bloodshed that rendered the land useless, okay, and unable to produce the fruit and the vegetation, the herbs of the land, of the field, right? That they were forced to go elsewhere. And because they could not impregnate the land where in which people call Africa now, they were forced to do menial commerce that would lead them to an industry that is as old as cities themselves, which is servitude. And in this grand scheme of this implementation, these groups that you consider that I call RIC, that you would call Russian or Iranian or Chinese, that I give the overall Mongoloid umbrella to, while they did not play a while they did not play a direct confrontational role, they did play a they were able to benefit vicariously, and and there was there were what seemed, compared to what was gained by other nations, modicums, scintillas, you know, nothing, right? An iota of what was really gained by other nations that truly engaged in the commerce of slavery. But these individuals did profit in their own ways from it, because once these people were removed completely from the land, the adaption and the the perpetrated act of the illusion, okay, of imitating a people or their culture or their ways or their identity was set in full place. Case in point, no one called the Khazars. If you watch the movie now, right, they would show you in the 1200s or 1300s, they would call certain individuals Jews. But that's a theatrical element that they can impose upon you, as opposed to the truth may be it that no one thought that they were Jews back then. That's a possibility. In fact, people knew that they weren't Jews back then. That's a possibility. Same individuals who would come here and be a small portion of the population, yet great beneficiaries in this land. Now, where they are not distinctly Mongoloids and they are a Turkic people, they do have a relationship, a blood relation, a blood tie with the Mongoloids, i.e., through the Turkic Mongol connection, okay, i.e., through the Khazar Mongol connection in general. And so when I say it like that, I'm just speaking to the level that we have to realize when you say English white man and you say Turkish white man, you're talking about two different genealogies. They look different, they act different. Their demeanor and the way that they're composed is different. Having said that, one group is like I said, actively uh, a beneficiary, whereas the other group is a passive beneficiary. They were never enslaved like black people, so I think sometimes our people misunderstand what other groups have, which is a non-brokenness to them. Because my people are a broken people, they are destroyed. Your people are a destroyed people. When you accept this and you actually realize it for what it is, you'll be much better off. But you can't go around thinking that the people that you claim to serve or that you claim to love are not a broken people, are not a destroyed people. They very much are so. So other groups seem to benefit more from what we've done. It's just no, they're just less broken. Right. And the oppression that they felt is not so great that they can't move or look past it. Our oppression is different because we're in a land that our ancestors helped to create, and we have not been the beneficiaries of anything in a direct or even really indirect capacity. We're we're like uh we're like uh we're like less than dogs to them because a dog gets table scraps and we don't even get those. You get what I'm saying? Like we don't even get those. Like we're less than that to them. And I'm not saying that's how Rick looks at us. Doesn't matter how Rick looks at us because Rick is not the one who enslaved us. Does that make sense? Right. The Franks did. The so-called English did. Right. The Anglo individuals did that. Burgundians and Jutes. So uh, Lombards, whatever you want to call them, okay? All of them. All of them. They're all a part of the problem. They're all a part of the reason why your people are oppressed to this day. Not a single one of them, of those groups who are not Turkic, who are not Mongol, okay? They are not a Slavic or Mongoloid type of individual. These are another caste of Indo-Europeans who, by the way, all the other groups, even the so-called Mongols, to a distinction, are considered Indo-European, even though they're not. Right. Now, having put that forth, White Heaven benefited from a structure that the Turkic Mongoloid Empire put into place. Because once the crusade would take place, most of the Mongoloid caste would not throw their lot, they would not fight during the crusade. This is why a lot of them adapted to Buddhism and converted because they did not want any part of what would be perceived as an active affront on the so-called chosen people. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The crusade, no matter what people believe, was fought because they had read the prophecies, perceived who the people were, and there was a group that was attempting to keep that from happening and another group that was attempting to act that out. The group that attempted to stop it from happening obviously fell short. Here we are now. Now, I'm not going to say that they're any less evil because that means that they never wanted the prophecies to happen and they wanted the Most High God inadvertently to be a liar or advertently. I don't know. Whichever one is still a sin. My point being this: those who would act out the prophecy in the vicious and wicked and heinous manner, evil manner that they did, the trite manner that they did, I can still say that they did more right than those who would seek to have nothing to happen. This is a part of people understanding the greater picture, the real big picture, the one that that normally escapes them. Ask yourself this: in white heaven, how many times have you seen a white person who did not look like a regular white person? You're like, man, what are they mixed with? They got to be something. They got to have something in them. They have to. You're convinced. And I'm not talking about them being like part black. You're like, nah, like they got to be Asian or part Islander or something. There's something. There's some kind of Mongoloid, some kind of Orient. They're not anybody that I have seen. Right. And it be like that. And I know I'm not the only one. And this is why I did that video months ago about Major Taylor Green, about how she's really a funny looking chicken. And no disrespect to her, it's just she looks like a pigskin, a swintillian mongoloid. That's what she looks like. Right on? George Bush looks like a swintillian mongoloid. No disrespect. Or whatever, however people feel about it. That's where I'm at. I'm like, there's so many different individuals who I could name right now who do not look regular. Okay, they look like somebody from a whole nother place. Uh, there's a boxer out there right now, and matter of fact, I'm gonna use two different boxers to illustrate my point, and they're both supposed to be Russian. And I don't expect nobody to know who these guys are, but you can look them up. One's name is Dmitry Bivol, and the other one's name is Artur Beterbiev, right? And Beterbiev or Beterbiev, but Beterbiev. Him, he looks more like a Turk Anglo, right on? And Beevil looks more like a Mongoloid Turk Anglo, meaning he looks like he's a complete mixture of all three bloodlines, and the other guy looks like he's just a mixture of two different bloodlines. Does that make sense? And it's just they look totally different in their faces, but they're both Russian. They both speak Russian, right on. But this is just proof to the point that the Khanate, the Il Khanate, that the Khans, the Huns, right on, Genghis Khan, his bloodline bred so far in as to meld themselves in with the regular culture because they didn't even look normal. They don't look normal now. They look hella irregular a lot of the time. Word. It's one thing to be a dude from the Philippines who you can tell is like Islander. I guess you want to call them Asiatic if you want, right? But you get what I mean. But they still have very normal features, right? Whereas there's other cats whose their faces like there's black blurple skin Africans who have flat faces like dudes from the Orient. But ain't nobody saying that they're blood related. But that's neither here nor there. But my point is this: individuals who were like that, they fought on one side. And individuals who look more like, let me pick somebody so that way you guys can really understand like who I know these dudes look like when they were taking black people from one spot to the other. Think of somebody like Michael Caine, the actor, the old white dude, right? Or even somebody like man, who's a really Donald Sutherland, Kiefer Sutherland, individuals like that. Can you dig? Those type of individuals. Like they have a certain look to them. They don't look like these other dudes. Sip on this little brewski. They look totally different. Like, okay, I'm gonna give y'all a prime example. Conor McGregor and Habib Nurmagomedov, right? Those are the kind of those. That's the dichotomy. That's the stark contrast. They don't look alike at all, but people would tell you that they're both white. The untrained eye, the the unlearned mind, and the unlearned eyes that cannot perceive would tell you that those are the same individuals. But I'm saying that folks who look like Conor McGregor are the main and primary beneficiaries, the assertive beneficiaries of chattel slavery, right on, of the transatlantic slave trade. You dig? They're the main beneficiaries. And I'm saying that individuals on the side of Habib would be individuals who fought to keep that from happening in the first place. Right. Both sides feign ignorance as to, I don't know what's going on. And I don't know if I really believe in anything. They'll say whatever it takes to keep that heat off of them. Because if you start to look at the situation, you'll then understand it like, oh, wow. So no matter what, they're both evil, but one's evil for another reason, for a whole totally different purpose. Like I used to say a long time ago, there's demons, there are spirits that want this all over. They want to end it. It's not that they're it's not that they're righteous or that they're pious or that they're godly. They're just tired. And then there's other demons and dark spirits and fallen spirits that don't ever want this to end. Right. Because that means that they get judged. Can you dig it? So that's what that means. But check this out. People can't help themselves, you know what I'm saying? So that be my point. But at the transatlantic slave trade, has sole beneficiaries or main beneficiaries, and then you have silent beneficiaries or passive beneficiaries. We have to start looking at it as, at what point does RIC become an ally by necessity or by proxy, as opposed to um, white heaven being our enemy by the basis of proximity? Does that make sense? So we're stuck here. Obviously, we know that that's not a good situation. But these other individuals would no less have you in just as a perilous situation if they could help it. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, you know what I mean, right? My point being this, y'all. One second, let me kill this liquor real quick. This is my point. You can't ever predict, you can't ever see what people are up to. Right on? You can only perceive it. You can only understand it once it is that they're doing what it is that they do, what they're up to. There's no way that everyone back in the day, I listen, y'all already know that I feel like most of the dudes who live in Africa are Gentiles anyway. And I believe that our people were under black Gentile control, black Mongoloid control. The point being this: when they gave us up to be a servant in this land, right? They made it to where there was a perceived uh uh people believe that we're them, right on? I don't know if they said that to them because they wanted people to believe that, right? But that's not the case. Can you dig it? So it's just one of those things. Give me one second, y'all. But yeah, because you know you got to pay attention to what people are going. Everything that they do matters. But nobody could have told everybody back then. They couldn't have told those black mongoloids, yo, these dudes are about to fucking pull off a stunt, and they're gonna say that you guys are all the same, or the black mongoloids are all in on it already, and they're like, we're gonna tell them that we're all the same, right? So guess what happens, right? People put you in a position. You see what I'm saying? People put you in a in a predicament, and they don't want to hear this. Even though Africa is not part of RIC, technically it's not, but they are black mongoloids. Can't nobody tell me they're not. These dudes don't look any different. I can pull up pictures of Sudanese. I can pull up pictures of a certain dudes in Mali. I can pull up people who are from the Congo. I can pull up people from them Tanzania, okay, Burkina Faso, all kinds of places over there. I can pull them up and show you that these dudes are not normal looking, and they're supposed to be where we come from. And I'm like, bro, they don't look nothing like us. No thing. And when these individuals have children with the English, same individuals who claiming that they had babies with these people, that's where we came from, the babies look nothing like us. Right. How is that? I want y'all to riddle me that, Batman and Batwoman. How does that happen? But once again, though, you have a situation where they're not telling these guys, hey, we're about to go. If these black Mongoloid Gentiles don't have any idea that you are the children of Israel, What difference does it make to them that they sell you? Think about what I'm saying. Right. If these dudes don't know who you are and another group does, or this other group has an idea that you may be these people, right. Think about that for just half a moment. Y'all think it's a coincidence that the Moors were waist deep in the slave trade? Think about this. These are the same Moors, okay, that no lie could easily very well be the Amorite people out the Bible. These are the same Moors, no lie, that were coming here and being set free. These dudes, look, not only were they being set free, but they helped establish some of the first outposts here in America. Those Moors, right? Those black Arabs, them. They just might very well know who they're looking at when they see it. Y'all, this is 400, 500 years ago when they're putting this plan together, closer to the 500 piece, because they got to put it together first. It's going to take a couple generations to get everything right, to get all the supplies right. They didn't build those boats overnight. They didn't just start building them in one day. They were putting that shit together. That was a massive logistical effort. They were all in on it. Everybody was in on it. All but the niggas that got sold. Right. This is my point. Rick has to do what Rick has to do. It's not because they want to be an ally, it's because they have to align themselves with us at this point. But don't think that they're going to be trying to split hairs on who they think a demonic black person is and a non demonic one is when their fucking troops touch the ground. You think they care anything about that? No, they do not. If you try to stand up and fight for this country, they're going to probably try to lay you out. That's the reality. If you stand back and just get the fuck out the way, your chances of surviving are way better. That's just what it is. There's nothing cowardice about that. You don't have the arsenal, you don't have the resources, you don't have the sheer bodies and populace to go toe to toe with the force like that. There's no need to prove anything, and there's no need to tempt the Most High God. I'm not going to tempt him to have to save me from my own foolish decisions. That I won't be doing. But what I will do is I will stand by and watch as those that considered our ancestors, those whom we seed from, considered them to be 60% of a person, three-fifths of a person. The fact that they could legislate it and agree to it is an egregious, wicked act upon our personhood and upon our ability to be men and women. They attacked everything that we were, and they still continue to do so. But in that one hit of legislation, that tells you more about how they feel about you than any other piece of legislation. That you are not really a person to them. And that alone should be enough to stand by and to fall back because this is their battle, not yours. The crusade never ended, and white heaven is going to find out. I can guarantee you, I can't do all the research for all these people because all their bloodlines are not all available. I can guarantee you an innumerable number of the individuals that have been acting a certain kind of way, they're who do not look like me, their bloodlines have been here for less than 120 years. I can guarantee it. I can Guarantee it. And because that's the case, one has to ask themselves, one has to ponder to themselves, when do the people who are like us do their part? And when do they wake up? See, I laugh at the term when they try to shit on when people are woke, right? I guess we should start saying, you know what I'm sleep, right? But even in my sleep, I can still see all this. Should I just say I'm sleep from now on? Should we all just start saying we're sleep? We're right. We're real anti-woke culture. We're sleepy. But but in the midst of our sleep, we still have more sense than those that have both of their eyes open, perceptually. Because I'm tired of it. I guess, I guess, I guess farmers who thought it would be smart to have black people to come out way out to Oklahoma to run off with the bag, I guess those farmers were woke back then. Huh? Because they're trying to make wokeness this negative ass thing, right? I guess slave owners were woke, huh? The rapist, murderer, molesting, mutilators, right? Torturers. I guess they were all woke. Since woke is a negative thing, let's go ahead and put all this other shit with it that should be with it. Because it's nonsense. If I tell you that you broke my window, or that your son, your daughter broke my window, and your first response is, oh man, you sound like you're acting woke. Dude, they broke the window. That's what happened. There's no thing woke or sleep about that. This is what pisses me off about people and this whole society in general. I had a dude say something crazy, right on. Uh uh Dude was like, I don't want to watch movies that have all this woke culture in it, right? And and I just laughed, you know what I'm saying? And I just laugh because I'm just like, what is woke culture? I'm trying to figure it out. Like, so if I say that I want people to know that that the Jenny coupler, which is a device that saved many men from being maimed and killed on the railroad tracks by connecting cars, right? If I say that that brother is an Afro man, Afro bearded man, is that me being woke, right? If I say that the son of a plantation owner went to France, learned a few things about chemistry, came back to America and bleached everything white from the mayonnaise to the milk to the eggs to the sugar, right? To the vanilla for the ice cream, because he didn't bleach it. You guys get what I'm saying? He created concoctions and processes that would lighten everything up in the end. Point being this. Do I? I mean, do we call that guy woke for making everything white? Do I shit on that dude? No. Do I? No, I don't. But I'm just saying, like, what's woke? Is woke racist ass slave owners cutting uh, babies that could possibly be their own children out of a black woman's stomach and feeding it to an alligator and letting her bleed to death? Is that woke? I want to fucking know. Because they're talking about, critical race this and critical race that and woke this and woke that. So I just want to know, what's the truth then? Somebody tell me the truth. Did they or did they not legislate that black people were three-fifths of a fucking person? I have to know. And if they did that shit, was that wokeness that allowed their minds to do that? where they thinking like, man, this is futuristic. This shit's everybody's gonna understand why we did this in the future. Or were they like, ah, I have my reservations about this? Or were they just like, fuck it, it don't matter. We're gonna be dead anyway. So who gives a fuck? I'm just giving y'all different perceptions, different ways to think about it. Okay? It's killing me. It's killing me. Yeah. I just literally have to sit here and get everything to play inference. Yeah, I mean, yeah, see, but you can say intersectionalism was created to do that and a whole bunch of more other stuff. I'm just speaking to the term of what they're all against. Because you have black people, you have black people who, for the most part, are I'm not gonna say open-minded, but their mind is more able to perceive what's going on. And I'm not gonna say that they're being delusional, but I'm just saying like they're being unrealistic because they'll say, well, I don't want my daughter or my son learning about woke culture. Slavery happened. That was a dark time in American history, but we're past that. Okay, those same black people who say that shit get pulled over by the police, then they get upset and be like, they can't go, the same dude can't go back on TV and be like, man, I got pulled over last night and the cop was acting crazy. And even if the same dudes who spew bullshit on the same networks that they're on all agree that, man, that happened to you because you're black, they're not going to come out and say, hey, so and so, blase blase, was accosted last night by law enforcement, the same law enforcement that we stick up for every day, blase 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 blase. They're not going to do that. That brother, Lawrence Jones, who works on damn Fox News, if the cops were to kick him, I mean, if the cops were to pull that nigga out of his car, arrest him, I mean, beat the fuck out of him, right? Rodney King style, for no reason. Fox News would try to cover that shit up. Fox News would give this nigga so much money not to say nothing. Word? And then he would be conflicted for the first time in his sorry ass life about what he's been doing. Because in that moment, he would realize, yes, bro, they don't care about you. So my thing is like, is woke just the terminology that they use for anything that they don't like? Because some people think it's anti-black, but I'm like, no, there's a lot of shit that other people do that has nothing to do with black people that they're calling wokeness. Right on? So don't 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 automatically associate that to yourself, you know. I mean, bro, I mean, he can't help it. Somebody's got to pay LJ's bills. Better than him being a tranny or a closet faggot. You know what I'm saying? Better he just sound like he's mush mouth and his brain is out of order than his brain really be out of order. Okay? You know. So I mean, but you get what I'm saying, family. I'm trying to figure out what how do we figure it? How do we figure it from where we're at? Just like I was saying earlier, you have a group of individuals in the Turks and a group of in the Mongoloid Turks, and then Anglo Jute, Anglo slash Slav, loosely though, right on. Still, the point being this: Crusaders are the Anglos, excuse me, Knights Templar, Crusaders, and then Islam, Muslims are the Mongol Turks. And What I'm trying to say is that the Mongol Turks fought for a certain position, but the Anglos won. I'm saying, like, were the Anglos woke? Now think about this. Now this is deep. Were they woke for wanting to enslave the children of Israel? Does that make them woke? Does it make the Turks woke for fighting against it? Right on. Does it make us sleep for not knowing the difference? That's all I want to know. Because I'm trying to figure this stuff out, family. Like, when are the people who look like us going to really sit back and start to understand, like, okay, they want us to breed ourselves out. That's their first plan. They don't want us to breed ourselves back in, i.e., when a brother's mixed, they don't want him to get with a sister, i.e., when a sister's mixed, right on, they don't want her to get with an actual brother. They want them to continue to breed out. They don't want them to breed their bloodline back in. See, this is shit like that. And I'm not saying that, oh, we got to take one for the team and look out for these people, but it's like, yo, their whole point, the same thing that the crusade was, is what we're going up against right now. Either you want to stay looking like you and you want people to look like you 1,000 years from now, right on, or you're willing to throw it all away and spit in the Most High God's face. Those are the only two options. There is no third option. Because doing nothing is still spitting in his face. And this is where I'm at. And these people they're terrified. They're afraid. I don't blame people for being scared of the uncertainty of tomorrow or whatever. What I dislike, what I find most uh distasteful is when you have people that are of an adult age that can make adult decisions, that make adult money, but yet everything they do is like a child. All of their all of their ways are likened to a child. They're not responsible at all. We have individuals that have made a whole bunch of money, and these dudes are talking about. Now, here's the funniest part: the same dudes who call black people woke or call whoever woke, do they realize that the Republican Party, for all intents and purposes, during the years of the Civil War, that the 4 or 5 years that preceded that and the years that followed that the Black Republican Party would have, for all intents and purposes, would have been seen as woke? Do they understand that? The individuals who freed black people, who made the legislation to make it happen, are they not, or what the fuck were they? Were they not woke? I don't get it. Niggas call Abe Lincoln racist. But name one other president who did what he did before him. And name one other president that's taken half the chance he took after him. Name one. Dude's talking about he was a notorious racist. If you were passing for white and you were trying to make shit happen and make shit shake, you would say and do whatever you had to do to make that happen. Mad because Clay Thompson freed the slaves and they're mad about it. Fuck out of here. What what else is there? Why else would Lincoln have done what he done? Got to be part black, at least. And I always laugh because people be like, oh, black people would have got free anyway. I need y'all to really think about what you're saying. I need y'all to really imagine what you're talking about. So black people would have got free and went where? That's the question. They're not gonna let all you niggas go up north. They're gonna make some of you stay down there and continue to work. Some of you ain't gonna want to go nowhere. Right. What do you think happened when slavery ended, other than a whole bunch of black people becoming homeless overnight? That outside of that part. Yes, that's right. White folks figuring out ways on how can I keep these niggas on my land? I'll pay you this much. I'm gonna let you stay where you've been staying. Bro, family, family. Thank you, thank you. But all I'm saying is the culture that they want us to believe that we've embraced, we have never embraced that. Black people are naturally uber we're not just conservative. Like the most conservative black people are uber conservative. Hopefully this person gets their alarm off in a second. I don't know what they be going through out here. But anyway, our people are extra uber super conservative. I know a bunch of black people that are like that to this day. I know sisters that don't wear pants, that only wear dresses. They don't wear. I know sisters that are like that. They don't wear. They do not wear leggings. I know sisters that are like that to this day. They're grown, older women, of course, but they don't believe in all that stuff. Right on. And there's some younger sisters who I know who are more or less like that. But still, my point being that is they want us to believe something just because they say it. But what we're experiencing, what we're actually living, they want us to deny that actuality. Right on the reality, but I'm calling it actuality because it's actually happening. Right on. You know what I'm saying? It really hurts to get slapped, but yeah, they actually slapped you. It's the difference. Action versus the reality of it. It's real, but the act is what makes it real. Give me a moment. Having said all those things, I just think it's awkward that we have a group of people who are within our people who are not the people who are able to do what they please and then tell the people, you just gotta just do you just gotta go for it. Black people have been going for it, man, for like 150, 160 years, dude. And where are they at? You got immigrants that come here because nigga literally in 2 years are doing better than some whole generations of black people. Think about that. Dudes show up in America with a fucking dirty ass greasy tank top, some fucking Hawaiian shorts and some flip flops, nigga, and a duffel bag full of dirty clothes and porno mags. And this fucker somehow makes it big. Okay, you don't even speak English to this day, but somehow he made money. Is that wokeness? Is that wokeness letting other people come here and siphon out the system and drink this shit down like a fucking strawberry malt? I want to know. Because if that's wokeness, I want nothing to do with that. Once again, black people are extra conservative. I'm not against nobody who wants to have a better life. I'm just against anybody that'll bring down the quality of my life to ensure that their life is better. I'm not fucking with that. You're not going to sabotage me to make you good. Because I'm not going to sabotage you to make me good. That be a fact. I want you to think about this, y'all. And I know people got to work and do stuff. Everybody's grown ups. I get it. But I just need a couple more minutes and then I'm done with this. Why is it that as a group of people, we can't come to the understanding that, hey, there are those of us that are truly actually righteous. There is a such thing as right and wrong. You see what I'm saying? Why is there even a debate about it? Is 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 being amoral, is being a nihilist, which means that nothing matters. Is that wokeness? Because if that is, I want nothing to do with that. I'm like, what is woke? I thought when people were saying they was conscious and they was woke back in the day, they was talking about the understanding between low vibration frequencies, mid vibration, high vibration, and omni vibration, and how they could sense the difference between all these things and how they're. Anyway, let me stop. Let me not get too carried away with all that. Let me bring it all back real quick. But I thought woke and conscious was something totally different. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm tripping. But that's what I thought. That's what I was always told it was. Wokeness and consciousness was a vibration and a frequency thing. Right. Not some base level fuckery that's only accessible through a tangible experience, through a physical experience, through that sensation, through that media of touch. Medium, excuse me. It's a singular. I'm just saying. Man, I love y'all. I jump in front of a stray bullet for any one of y'all. You just don't know. Life is just not worth living unless you will lay it all down for something. And I told y'all this before, and I'll tell y'all this again. The Most High God, if he was a person, if he was a physical man, he would sacrifice his life for any and every person that he knows he loves. He wouldn't think nothing about it. That's why he sent men here in that way, in that form, to be like that, because they needed to understand what real love looks like. Real love is not just taking your children to the movies and treating them to a good time. Real love is not just hugging someone and telling them, I love you. Right on. Sometimes real love requires for you to make an action that you won't even be there afterwards. But you know that the impact of this action will be so profound, will be so great. The magnitude of it will be felt, it will reverberate so massively, as they say, magnanimous, right? I just want everyone to know that it's on you to do what you must do for your people. It's not on anyone else. This isn't woke or conscious speaking. This is actual real thing. When you go out and you do what you do, you're already protected. Right on? When you woke up that day, you were protected. All you have to do is continue to make wise decisions, and the protection that you have shall not leave you. If you go against that protection and you tempt that protection, you will be in a situation where you will have to show yourself true and proven. Right. There are a lot of people that are scared of things that they do not know. But the Most High God, if he was a man, he would lay down his life for you. He loves you so much. Why would he why would he not? He gave you life. What do you think the prophets were? And all the chosen and called people out of the earth, but a living sacrifice to the people, because their own life they didn't live. I don't live the same life many of the other brothers and sisters live, because I'm not enthralled with the same things that they're enthralled with, nor do I indulge in the same things that they indulge in. And that's not a knock to anyone, and that's not a slight or a hit to anyone. It's merely a base level observation. Excuse me. In its worst, it sounds like a critical observation, but it's a base level observation. I don't owe. You don't owe. We don't owe the society anything. But if you believe and carry on and go about it in such a fashion that you believe that there is something to gain here, as opposed to the ability of maintaining yourself, you're going to fall short. Not only will you fall short, but you will more than likely sacrifice pieces of your decency and your righteousness in the midst and the happening of all those things. I've seen it happen before. I've literally watched good girls go bad. I've watched it, fuck, I don't know, 100 times in my life, and it's not based on anything. I've just been around to see it happen a bunch of times. Straight A students, valedictorians, right on, trust fund babies, all kinds of people. I've seen men obviously fall to the wayside, but I've seen it happen to a lot of young ladies. Good girls go bad all the time. Chipping away at their soul, needlessly, but still chipping away at it. Sad, but I can't change that. My point is this, brothers and sisters. You have not because you have fought not for that. Your people have not fought for salvation. You have fought for equality. Your people have not fought to see the Most High God. They have fought to stand shoulder to shoulder with their God given enemies. Your people have not asked to be redeemed and saved out of this land. Yet they have asked to be made the head and no longer the tail, not knowing that they were the head before. People, when they finally get to the full realization, you have been in this situation before. Your ancestors were already here before. What are you going to do about it? They don't want to hear this. This is great expound. Back to Rick real quick before I get up out of here. Right? I got to talk about white heaven and all that shit again. Rick is in a situation where they're about to fuck some shit up. I seen an article the other day, read an article. Millions of people were unable to access their EBT, right? And some of the systems have been restored, but millions of people were at the register embarrassed. How embarrassed would you be? Shopping cart full of groceries. Got to put them all back. This happened in millions of instances all over the U.S. It's just this last week. This is just a few days ago. I don't have that article in here because I didn't care to put it in there, and I'm not even worried about it. To put it in there at least to throw the article out, but I don't care about that shit. But I wanted to tell y'all, yeah, I don't get EBT. I haven't gotten EBT for years. It don't affect me like it affects other people. Right on, because I have the good sense to know better. Don't live outside your means. When you need to buy food with physical cash money, you'll have the physical cash money to go buy it, and it won't matter. That's that's the reality. That's the truth. People can say, "Well, I'm barely making enough money to pay rent and do this and do this." That's not my problem. But at the end of the day, you see what I'm saying? That is not my problem. 0%. Right. Me being a nigga is not their problem. On everything it's not. They're like, I'm a nigga too. Okay then. So now you really understand. It's not my problem. You won't even cast your burdens on the most high God. Do you know I know a bunch of people who do not pray? A bunch of people who do not actively pray. I'm talking about people in my family. I'm talking about like cousins and shit. I'm not talking about nobody that I talk to like outside of like kinfolk. I'm talking about like blood relatives that I know who are like, I barely pray. They believe in the most high God. I'm like, shit, what justice are you doing yourself? You don't have to give a bunch of useless lip service to the most high God to ask for what you're asking for. And to let him see all your shortcomings and all your flaws so that way you know he can reveal to you what you need to work for and what you have a goal to work towards. I've been working for I'm 31. I've been working since I was 15 years old. On paper. Been working since I was probably like 8, 7. You know what I mean? Like just doing something just to make money, anything to make money, picking up cans, mowing lawns, all that. Picking up dog shit, whatever. Pay me, pay me, pay me, pay me, and pay me. I always understood I need to get some money. All since I was a little boy. Situation that a lot of people don't understand. Live within your means. Okay. If you make 8 grand a month, you can't go out and spend $8,001. If you make half that and you're only making 4 grand a month, you can't go out and spend $4,001. If you're making half that and only make 2 grand a month, you can't go out and spend $2,001. If you only make half that, that's $1,000 a month. You can't go out and spend $1,001, and so on and so forth, from 501 to 251, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. Whatever you making, shit. People talking crazy, but but how many of them can say honestly, like how many years they can count in their life where they didn't clear so much money? Like, I'm from this year to this year, I know I never made more than this. Right. And a lot of people can say, yeah, I didn't make more than this at this age. I always made more. I know people since they were 17 years old, 18 years old, ain't never made less than 40 grand a year. Since they was a teenager. I know people like that to this day. Ain't never made less than that. I know people right now who ain't never made more than $30,000 a year. And these niggas are in their 60s. Whatever. Luckily for me, I've made more than 40 and I've made less than 30. I know what both of them feel like. You know what I'm saying? Money is money. When you know what money is, when you know what to do with your money, you know how to handle your money, you'll always keep some. But this broken ass mentality that our people have, this destroyed mentality that they have, they really believe like a pair of Jordans or like a fucking watch is gonna change their status. They're so this is how denigrated they are in their minds that they believe that a fucking trinket is gonna change their status. Think about that. I mean, I want you to really think about that. They believe a trinket is about to change their status. I'm gonna tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I'm gonna pour up a shot of this Jameson. I'm gonna sip it and then I'm rolling. Yes, I drink strong drink. Yes, I enjoy it. No, I'm not gonna stop until the Most High God gets back. That's right. So you ain't even gotta worry. No, I don't drink hard liquor every day. No, I don't drink a whole bunch of it when I do drink. Seldomly, I do that. Questions I was just, in my mind, I felt like people might have pinged to a nigga wanting to know. Fact of the matter still remains this. We're in white heaven. Rick lost the fucking crusade. Kind of glad they did. And now here we are at the last ass end of the crusade. This is it. This is for all the marbles. When I say for all the marbles, this is for all the marbles. Whatever goes down with Rick and the US is going to change the entire landscape of everything forever. The Silk Road Initiative is going to connect China, Russia, and certain parts of Africa. Right. That's what they want. They want the old Ilkhanate back. I'm not saying that I've encouraged them to go ahead and do some shit, but I'm like, man, I want them to pop this shit the fuck off and quit playing. The next time somebody from America go to over there to Taiwan who ain't supposed to be over there, I'm like trying to shoot they shit down and quit fucking around. Blow that shit out the sky and get it all the way fucking popped off. Quit playing. Quit playing. Because China knows that if they had did that shit, America would have shot them down. Thought nothing about it. Right. Oh, you think a Chinese diplomat is just gonna show up in fucking Alaska? Where? Just because they want to? You think they're just gonna show up in Hawaii just because they want to? Even though they go there, even though they go to these places, what you don't think the Americans know who's coming in and out these places when the shit is chartered and it's all known about and the manifesto is clear and there ain't no kind of funny business? Come on now, quit playing. They know who's going where, they know who's going to go see who. These are those individuals. And until our people as a collective whole come to the realization you are up against a machine. It's not just it's not just a wicked ass system. It's a machine. System's not always a machine. Right on? A system might be software, not hardware. That's the difference. We are up against a machine, a piece of hardware that has a mind, a system of its own. And when black people come to that realization, they may just actually want to be saved. You can't save someone who thinks they can save themselves. Let me repeat myself, and I'm going to quote the Avatar. It is hard to fill a cup of that which is already full. That's straight up shit. That is the truth. Can't put something there if there's already else something there. So whatever they believe, right, is what they believe. You can't make someone not believe that. I can't make you not believe what you believe. All I can do is ask you to consider another line of thought and pray that in that line of thought, even if you don't see what I would hope that you would perceive, that you see something different that stimulates thought within your mind. I had a guy talk to me the other day, and he was like, "The way you speak reminds me of like like a motivational speaker," he said, right? Not exactly a pastor, not exactly like a life coach type of person. But the individual was like, you use words, like you try to find the right words to describe or to really make it clear what you're doing. And he was like, the way you describe things is so vivid. He's like, I can actually imagine it. And so I'm gonna give y'all this is the truth right here. We've watched this year take place. An innumerable number of shootings and acts of violence have taken place. I can guarantee you half of those are because people did something before that act took place that initiated those acts of violence. I.e., there was an individual in one of these states, I want to say Oklahoma, stabbed somebody the other day. He stabbed him to death at a gas station, and then they ended up getting shot by some so called do gooder. Now, my issue with the do gooder was, as opposed to them just following this person, right? And then just having the police on the line, telling the police where they were at, and not actually making contact with this person, they went and they shot them. Now, let me tell you something. Had they got killed trying to do that dumb shit, motherfuckers would be talking about how the dude who killed him was a bad person. But in all actuality, I don't know why they stabbed this other person. Because guess what? They didn't stab nobody else. Right. Normally, when people want to do dumb shit and they want to hurt everybody, they just try to hurt everyone. So for this individual to stab this person and to have left, they can say, well, the wicked flee when none pursue. But what about the fact that if I'm defending myself, you don't have to know I'm defending myself. If this person threatened to go to their car to get a weapon to do something to me, and I pull out my knife and I get rid of them with it, right on, and then you come and ambush me, use a sucker. You didn't confront me right at that gas station. Want to know why they didn't confront him right at that gas station? Because they was afraid that this nigga would stab him there too. This is what they was afraid of. They was like, oh, I don't want none of that. Okay, I don't want none of that. You know, none of that. No, 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 no. So whew, it's just it's just one of those things where you have to see it for what it is, and you have to understand it. Like they're not they don't get to decide who's right and who's wrong. They don't get to decide that. Like I said, a person who goes out and commits an act of violence and it ends up being a victim themselves, because that's what they would end up becoming, right? Of violence to a similar act of violence, or are overcome and overwhelmed in their attempt to enact violence on another person, they're no less a victim. It's just their victimhood is not looked at the same as another person who did not actively seek out this sort of action upon themselves. It's a totally different thing. It's way different. And I'm just tired of everyone acting like it's the same shit. Well, we need more of this. Okay, so do y'all feel the same way about slavery? The same dudes who were talking about they're tired of people robbing and stealing and all this shit. Do y'all feel the same way about slavery? Do you feel that people should have went and been kicking the fuck out of slave masters and kicking their teeth in and freeing slaves? Or do you think that those black people should have been enslaved? Because once again they'll say, "Oh, well, that was just the times." Well, you know what? Then this woke shit is just the times, right? Where this conscious, it's just the times. It'll pass, man. It'll pass. But like I said, were black Republicans no less woke than you are right now? Right. Told y'all black people are uber conservative. Naturally, whole lots of slaves did not want their children, did not want their daughters. You know, they didn't want their families to be treated like fucking animals. You get what I'm saying? Like that was not what they wanted. They wanted the opposite. They wanted to be as close to normal as possible on those plantations. People had to accept they may just sell me. They may just sell my son or my daughter or my wife. They may just sell us all to separate places. Right on. I may have to get another wife. She may have to get another husband. Right on. Like that kind of shit. People die a broken heart, never seeing their families ever again. People go, like I said, all the deaths of despair on the plantation. A death of despair is a suicide. How many people you think killed themselves on those plantations? I want you to really be honest with yourself and ask yourself these questions. How many people do you believe took their own lives on those plantations? Right on? Like that's just the times, right? So once again, if if woke is something now that is just shit that they don't like, I guess everything is woke. Everything. Or we're telling these dudes that hey, you got to stop cutting down all the fucking trees. Oh, there's plenty of trees. Really? Then why are there floods in places that never had them? In the same places that you was cutting down these trees in? Why are there landslides in places that these trees used to be at? Right on. Their roots and the soil were locked together, and once there was nothing there holding it together, all the shit just came loose. Or like, why are we the only ones? I asked the brother this, and can somebody answer me this while I take these last little sips? From white heaven to Rick to everyone else outside and in between, we are the only people that give everyone the benefit of the doubt, yet we have to earn it from every other group. I want you to think about that. We give every group the benefit of the doubt. How I know this is because other groups have been able to come into our neighborhoods, get our women pregnant, have our sons to give their daughters, to have our sons to give their daughters children, right on, to literally stand on our shoulders financially and support entire communities in third world nations. This is the truth. One of these days, we're going to be in a situation, in a place where everything that they're trying to do or that they want to do will not be achievable anymore. And once we're in that location, in that place, well, obviously, those who make it will be those who make it, and those who don't will not. Do y'all realize and understand what people have done that have put you in the position that you're in? I'm not talking about the inadequacies of our ancestors because they couldn't read or they couldn't spell or they didn't understand business, but yet they were excellent people. They were excellent enough for my black ass and your black ass to be here. Are we ever going to come to the conclusion that we've never had with everyone else has had. And that if another group was in our position, anyone else, they wouldn't even be 1% as successful as we've been. Do y'all know that whole tribes, listen to me, whole entire tribes died when they were forced to be slaves? Whole tribes of so called native, aboriginal, indigenous people. Yes. Worked those people to death and tried to work your ancestors to death, my ancestors, our ancestors to death. Do y'all understand they did that on purpose? Do y'all understand that there's people who come here every day to this country and don't give a fuck about that? Do you understand that? Do you understand that there's people here who look like you, who they don't share a similar root stock or bond and understanding to this history? Do you understand that? It's painful. Ugh. Filed a petition the other day in the courts. Six pieces of paper cost me $240. Now I've been dedicated to showing these agencies exculpatory information that will exonerate my persons, okay, and all allegations being made against my persons be rendered moot. That being said, I had to pay that money just so that way I could be put back in a position that I was never supposed to be in, that I could be in the position so that way I may defend myself. Come on, this is deep. There is a God in heaven. There is the God of heaven. And as I speak right now, he looks upon the earth. It is a blessing and an honor to speak to the people. It is a blessing and an honor to speak to you. May the Most High God continue to guide and bless your souls and my soul. May you begin to realize that this RIC character, Russia, Iran, China, is far greater of an ally than they are an adversary at this point. And they don't have a choice. And once you come to the realization that this is the truth, then you will also see that the white heaven that you live in, that is called America, must come to an end in order for you to truly be free. We don't owe them anything. I work for an individual right now. I want to say his father is Italian and his mother is Iranian. I'm quite positive. His last name is Vadamini, right? But most people take the last name of their fathers, not their mothers. So I assume, naturally and rightfully so, that his mother is an Iranian woman brown skin, and his father is a white skin looking Italian dude. Now, that being said, that's not his problem or his fault, who his parents are, but he, yes, even he, stands on the shoulder of black people. Want to know why? Because without this nation called America, he'd either be in Italy or he'd be in Iran right now, either living in a little ass villa or a little ass village right now. And that would be his life. As far as I'm concerned, if my people are the children of Israel, the true chosen people of the Most High God, then no matter what, I would have been born in this land. My father and my mother were born here. Their fathers and their mothers were born here. And there are people who are in my father's bloodline who were not born in this land and are not of this land that were brought to this land by ship of foreign places that came and bred in with the black people. White heaven owes you more than you'll ever know. And RIC is more your friend than an enemy. And the Most High God is on your side. If that, my friends, is woke, then let me be it. May tomorrow be better than today, and may your next week be better than your last. I salute you. I salute you.